So we were just talking about museums, and I have to confess I am a museum expat. However, I continue to work in the nonprofit sector. I'm now at a theater called Playwrights Horizons, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about the future of mission-based work. Are we ready?
Yeah!
So I want to start with a big, brain-exploding observation that actually kick-started this entire talk. So here we go. Work isn't just work anymore. It's transformed from being a job to a fulfilling career to a calling that is transcendent. It's moved beyond necessity to status to meaning. And I feel that I actively choose to work at nonprofits because I love them as meaning-making machines, but they cannot love us back. They're inanimate. When we struggle with whether or not to stay at a job, it's often entirely connected to whether or not we as human employees feel championed and celebrated and supported by our institutions. And work ethic has come to mean always being around, available, and working, or feeling bad about not working. We give so much of ourselves to the work, to the hustle. And of course, this guilt is not unique to our field, but I do think us nonprofit folks have a particularly complicated relationship with work. First, the market values nonprofit work differently than the for-profit sector, and societally, there's a visceral reaction to overpaid charity work. So I'm quoting here, but that confuses morality with frugality, and we end up with a choice between doing good for the world or doing well for ourselves. Secondly, mission statements can quickly come to justify all sorts of bad habits and behavior. I mean, we're not curing cancer. Everything feels like it's on fire, sometimes because the rainforest actually is. We're saving oceans, we're preserving precarious histories, the stakes feel high, and we perform accordingly. So can we imagine a different way forward? I mean, on the one hand, we have something everyone wants. We have a meaningful North Star. But on the other hand, we're struggling with a unique existential crisis, limited compensation, and high expectations. So given all that, how can institutions take better care of their people, curb burnout, keep people in the sector? I think museums and nonprofits need to think about their staff as a stakeholder group worthy of just as much time, attention, energy, and evaluation as visitors or donors. For example, when visitors or donors fall off, we spring into action to find out why, to get them back, and we're not opposed to assuming something is wrong with us that sent them packing. So why are vacant staff positions reported as cost savings on a line item and not a retention or turnover problem that has to be solved? We love data from and about our audiences, but how can we gather better, honest feedback from staff early and often before they quit or leave the sector entirely? And how do you act on that information? An exit interview is too late. We apply to tons of grants for diversification efforts, but how many staff at your institution have the same degrees from the same universities, have the same relationship or family status, the same story? Independent of pay, how is your culture or your benefits package limiting the kinds of people who will work for you and stay? So all that said, what can we do? It's not just about the top-down change. How do we make this meaningful work feel like a sustainable choice in the long run? Well, first, stop beating yourself up. Don't let the mission be a weapon you wield against yourself. You are doing enough, I promise. You are making the world a better place. And more often than not, that email can wait. Go home. Because rest is resistance. Self-care is fucking radical. Take your vacation days and don't come to the office when you're sick. Make and keep your doctor's appointments. Make and keep your wax appointments. Make and keep your dinner appointments. This is the stuff that fills your bucket and it's sacred. Don't let the mission be a weapon your institution wields against you. Don't stop yourself from asking for what you need or deserve because you think it's selfish or because your institution tells you it's selfish or that it takes away from programmatic funds. Nothing gets done without the people who do it, so negotiate because you matter. You don't have to start at yes. Get better at saying no or okay, but I need until June. If you're forced to stretch or sprint unsustainably, speak up and document your concern. Explain. Don't just drink your coffee quietly while the room burns down around you because you are also flammable. As Mia Mingus writes, change can start with the ways we treat ourselves, ways that we would clearly recognize as abuse if it were being done to another person. After all, an abusive relationship with ourselves lays the groundwork for an abusive world. And change doesn't happen overnight, not the change we want to see in our institutions, our society, or even ourselves. We have to be patient and kind. But every inch we move in the right direction also course corrects our leadership, and it sets an example for our peers. It's really easy to focus on wanting other people to be accountable, shaking our fists at the sky. But what if we put that energy into our own actions? What small thing can you normalize? What big thing can you break? With whatever power you have, make other people ask, wait, we can do that? A theater director I know simply refused to default to the grueling and very normal 6-day-a-week rehearsal schedule, and another director asked herself, what does it look like to create a space for the new mothers on her design team to be artists and parents? I'm asking you to stay. We need you. You are too important not to be a part of the future of our work. So pick one boundary you can set. Help someone else create a reasonable deadline, and demand that our institutions are accountable not only to their audiences, but to their staff too. Because if we all leave, there's nobody left to show us how to do it differently. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Alison.